Supersonics Money Transfer is giving you an unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October. Yes! From now till the end of October, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice when you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland with Supersonics Money Transfer. Amazing! So from now till the end of October, every time you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice. Only 100 bags available, so hurry now and be part of the 100 lucky winners in this special unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October with Supersonics Money Transfer. Enjoy our safe, fast, reliable and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia with charges starting from $0. Yes! Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics. The unbeatable bonanza with Supersonics.
Tamala yoonu gàddaay kii di Fatou Fall num def ba mucc ci gàllankoor yoon bu raglu xaaxaan xiif rëccute ak nammel ci réewam.
soo nekkee si biir gaal bi li di nga yëg ay métit parce que ñun si biir gaal bi la ñoo nekk dëgg la gaal bi di nga fa feebar man maa ngi nii first day bi dama feebar full day lekkuma.
bi muy dem kay moom fil naa ko de ma xam ne xëj na dafa bëgg a tekki moo tax parce que Europe moom soo gisee ñëpp di fa dem pour tekki moo tax.
ni ma toogee noonu maa ngi neer gaal soo si nekkee sa kaa yaa ngi dem si joni bu sori foog nga nekk di neer.
surprise naa parce que moom dafa nekk nit koo xam ne nit yu ruskat la te ñemewut tamit moo tax man tam bu ma déggee comme dafa dem si yoon bi dëgg-dëgg surprise naa tamit suma xel bi tamit toogutoon bu ma yëgee ne comme gaal bi dem na te si yooni ndox lay nekk di dem.
maa ngi wuccu soona naa si gaal bi first day moom dama over soona dama soona.
dama fële Faat Fall ma dajee moom si tanduku la ma wax faafale ut fii ma ne ko fu ngay dem foofu léegi lay dem pour dimbale suma yaay.
xanaa guddi bi daf dee métti moom trop suñu jigéen ñi.
easy wut toon moom easy wut because man géej naa nelaw depuis début di paate mu dem.
biñ génnee baara di dem ñu ngi am Mauritanie foofu leen am after gars yi ñu gis ne comme am na gaal bu am accident soo óorut pour ñu war ñoo bàyyi ñun tam ñu continuer noonu la ñu gars yi téye.
métti woon na nag métti woon na trop xalaatoon naa ko parce que loolu mos nit soo juree sa doom nga yar ko di nga xam ban façon ngi jikko ban façon ngi nit la.
dajale neen xaalis foofu def neen li ñoo suñ mobile yëpp leen dajale pour jox ko gars yi rek ndax ñu mun ñoo bàyyi ñun ñu continuer. xeexuñ xuloowuñ saaguñ leen dañ fa nekkoon rek man moom jooyuma defuma dara waaye am na si ñoo xam ne ñu ngi nekkoon di jooy.
lijjanti ko ci épisode bii di Tamala ci série su gàddaay yuñ leen di indil koleel sa bët ci sa télé seetaanal ma Fatou Fall mu nettali ñu jaar-jaaram dinañ leen ko indil fii si GTTV samedi
19 si weeri novembre
2020 fàttalekul ne Babylon mu ngi fii si Jolof waaye nag ci bokk gome Tamala yoonu gàddaay.
Members of the media community, Gambian politics has entered a new phase, and there is need to help the people to understand the new architecture which is evolving. It was our intention not to issue any statement on the elections that took place regarding Niamina West and Kerr Jarga ward, precisely because we did not participate in these two elections. But we have been dragged into making a comment on that rather than preparing ourselves to help the people to understand the new phase that Gambians must understand by virtue of a track which is in circulation indicating that the Secretary General of PDOIS had issued a statement giving support for what happened and taking sides on what happened. Because if you say somebody had issued a statement congratulating any person, it means that you are actually taking sides on what actually happened. So that is fake news. And whoever had issued that statement should withdraw it with an apology. It is fake news. The Secretary General of PDOIS has not issued any statement before or after the 2 by-elections. Notwithstanding, because we've been dragged into it, it is important for the community to understand our position, and by extension, the political architecture of the Gambia. We see elections as a base of determining representation. Presidential election, National Assembly election, council elections. A party participates to be able to take over the presidency or control of the National Assembly or the councils to be able to serve the people based on its program. We participated as a coalition in the presidential elections. We participated as a party in the National Assembly elections. We participated as a party in the council elections. We did not participate in the National Assembly election for Niamina West in 2017. But we participated in the Kerr Jarga ward election in 2018. And the Doi candidate had 3rd position. Now we have the possibility of analyzing why we did not participate in the recent by-election. To us, a by-election comes when a seat becomes vacant, but it is a seat that had already been occupied by a particular candidate of a party who won in a particular contest. So by obligation, if that seat becomes vacant, either you contest to take the seat, showing your political weight that now you have in fact exceeded the bounds which you confined you to a loss in a seat, loss of a seat, or that you are just entering the political climate and you want to test your strength. For us, contesting a seat that was controlled by another party, when we have 2021 just coming, and that we are working in those constituencies or wards party contest. So consequently, we built an architecture for level ground for contests in elections. We agreed that the person who will stand as a presidential candidate for the coalition will resign from his party, so that we will no longer be considering political parties during a transitional phase. We also agreed that that person will only be there for 3 years. And after the 3 doing the coalition program of constitutional reform, institutional reform, then we will all work together to build that new country that all Gambians will take as their property. All Gambians will be proud to own. That was the agenda. And if that had happened, we'll not be talking about incumbency and its power. But that agenda was derailed. From the very beginning, they claimed that the president should move to what is a constitutional mandate. Yes, it's a constitutional mandate. that what all of us ought to do is to move away from the politics of patronage, from the politics of insult, from the politics of personality. We must realize that and that is why even during the impasse, we were so convinced of our victory that we could continue to cling on to that victory to transform it into legitimacy to govern. And eventually, it is that legitimate authority derived from the people that led to the transfer, peaceful transfer of power. You can to police themselves by finding out how many candidates. We had 22 candidates in the National Assembly elections in 2017. How many of them were above 50? So clearly, young people are standing for DOI.
But the question is, the party is too old-minded.
Yes, well, okay, now I'm beginning to understand what you understand by old. But the question is, what is old-minded? It is DOI that brought about the sovereignty of the people. It is DOI that is helping the Gambian nation to understand what a constitution is, what a republic is. Is that old-minded? People are yet to even become part of nations. They still belong to ethnic groups, religious groups. It is DOI that is saying that we should be equal in sovereignty, irrespective of our religion, our ethno-linguistic group, our gender, that we are all equal in sovereignty. And it is that authority that we have that should determine our manner of government. Is that all-minded? Which party has educated the nation to develop those concepts? It is DOI that is actually emphasizing that we have our farmers, we have young people coming out of GTTI, we have many of these women selling at the markets, but who is giving them support? DOI is saying, instead of taking that farm in Kafuta for a foreign farm to come and take the land and employ our women, and they work from sun up to sundown, and then they pay them pittance. DOI is saying no to that. Is that all-minded? We are saying we should have a cooperative bank that will give those women the seed, fertilizer, and farming implement to work on that farm, sell it, and that comes back to them as their property, as their wealth, to eradicate their poverty. Is that all-minded? We are saying that students coming from GTTI can be brought together so that when those people who are given fertilizers, farming implements by cooperative banks, when they are to dispose of their coups, those people will be able to have milling machines to be able to process the coups. Is that all-minded? That those people who will be able to buy that, whether it's the rice that is processed, or the coups that is processed, those who will be buying it, selling it at the market, will also get loans from the cooperative bank to be able to buy it so that they'll be able to sell. And you build a whole chain of producers, those who are processing and those who are marketing endlessly, until you can produce 4 billion, 4,000 million. We are importing in terms of rice 4,000 million that we can produce for ourselves, and 4 billion will be here in the Gambian economy. Is that all-minded? So what is important as young people is to begin to identify those people who have misled the African continent for 5 decades. People with half-baked education who never did any research, have no intention in knowing what our countries need, who continue to mislead people with statements that they cannot defend. And young people will be very foolhardy if they allow such people to continue to mislead them when all the knowledge is in your hands. We have always said, anybody who challenges DOI's way of thinking, bring him so that we have the debate before you, and that is the challenge to you media representatives, that anybody who says that in your media house, say that we will arrange a debate between you and the DOI people so that you can clarify matters to us. So essentially, we can go on, but we don't want the whole press conference to be just based on that issue.
So do you have hope for the Confined State House 2021?
It is not about hope. It is about the work that we have done to build coalitions. In 2006, we are the ones who worked to build the NAT coalition. And during those by-elections during that era, 6 by-elections, NAT won 4 by-elections. And possibly we could have taken over the country if others did not depart from NAT. 2011, we tried to build the United Front. Others did not join in. But look at the results in 2011. We had the coalition of UDP joined by PPP and GMC, and they had 17% of the votes. We built the United Front. We wanted all to come in. We did not even participate in the presidency. We said whoever they selected, we will support. And NRP came, GPDP came, and that was another coalition, and they had 11% of the votes. So you can see that we were helping to build the strength of the opposition. And 2016, we worked to build the coalition, and what happened? we changed over the country. So therefore, everything that DOI has been in, people can see progress. So we know that 2021, there will be progress. There is no doubt about it. What the outcome is going to be determined by the Gambian people. But we will do our maximum to ensure that the progress we have achieved up to 2016 will continue.
Compared the Niamina and that of Kerr by elections to coalition 2016. But then you said there was a kind of inducement by the project value. Could you elaborate more on that inducement? You mean personal influence or what?
I think you should take my statement very clearly. I am simply saying that incumbency 2016 coalition agenda was to put an end to incumbency in politics, meaning that the president served for 3 years and is gone. No parties will build up any base during the 3 years. We will build the mindset of a nation. We'll build a nation. One Gambia, one nation, one people. So that there will be level ground for multi-party contest. All the parties will work together in the National Assembly as well as the executive to be able to deliver what the Gambian people expected. So the person who is the incumbent will not participate in the next following election, but will ensure that there is a level ground for multi-party contest. That would have put an end to incumbency. That's what we are emphasizing. We are saying that that has not happened. So therefore, the power of incumbency is still there. How it manifests itself, I think all of you should go and investigate and find out what actually happened in all these constituencies. For us, we observe it at a distance with all the fanfare and all the languages that they were using. I think all the Gambian people know exactly what was going on.
My second question is, you talked about Gambia being in a crisis. Could you also elaborate on that?
I don't understand what you say.
You said those who talked about 5 years are the people that were always, you agreed on 3 years.
I have not made any.
You said you agreed on 3 years as a coalition, but then others let us say 5 years. And you said that was what brought this crisis.
Well, I think you've decided to draw your own lessons from what I've said. What I've said is very clear. I'm saying the agenda was 3 years to put an end to incumbency. That was the agenda. But eventually, they moved, cabinet itself moved away from that agenda of 3 years and gave the president 5 years. And that became a campaign of 5 years. Then you have already eradicated the whole concept of eradicating incumbency.
So that was what you were talking about as a crisis?
I have not mentioned a crisis. I simply said, I don't know, maybe you can go and listen to the tapes again. I don't think any word like crisis came in my whole presentation. What I have said is very simple, that the architect of the coalition, those who really built this coalition, had one fundamental objective, to free Gambia from the politics of incumbency so that there can be level ground for multi-party contest. And maybe some did not understand it as that way. You ask them. But we are speaking as we, that when we went into this coalition, the whole objective was to put an end to the politics of incumbency so that we can have a level ground for multi-party contest. I said that that has not happened. And now you are still left with the politics of incumbency. You are still left with the politics of incumbency. That is, the might of the executive is still operating in the political architecture of the Gambia.
I am Suleiman, one from the Royal Honorable Sallah, you have been always talking about empowering the young people. You have been leading, you have been becoming the presidential candidate for a while now. And then you have election in 2020. Are you willing to contest in the 2020 election on that?
Well, have I ever contested for in elections?
Are you willing to contest?
Yes, I'm asking you. You start with a statement. You said that I have been contesting for a while. I've never contested for in presidential elections. I was selected to contest in 2016, and of course, I invited all the presidential candidates at Kairaba in order for us to build a coalition, because it was very clear that singly we would not have been able to defeat the incumbent. So I've never stood as a presidential election for Doi. And clearly, if I am selected for 2021, I will contest for Doi. Is that an answer?
Thank you very much, Honorable Sallah. You argued that your agenda was to have an independent National Assembly that will promote the agenda of the coalition 2016 by working with the executive to make sure that the agenda of the coalition is achieved. But many argue that if we have an independent National Assembly, we will be in a scenario where we are the people that are supporting the president will all link to whatever the president said, they will support the idea. And many have argued that this has never happened anywhere where you have a National Assembly that consists of independent National Assembly members. It's rather by political parties. What will you say to critics that are saying that that agenda has never happened anywhere where you have a independent National Assembly?
Well, it is now very easy to engage in such debates. But when ex-President Jammeh was there in the State House, and we called the presidential candidates to decide to form a coalition, and we called the parties also to decide to form a coalition, some were saying you've never had a primary or convention of different political parties. That was the thinking, wasn't it? Some felt that this was not even possible. It's not feasible. We were wasting our time. Go back to your Facebooks, etc., and you see what they were saying to Halifa Sallah at that time. They said it was not possible. What they said was impossible became possible. And what became possible is a person resigning from his party and standing as an independent presidential candidate and won. Now, if a person resigns from his party and becomes an independent presidential candidate and won, what prevents another person resigning and become an independent National Assembly member? A good example is even now, after some people have been sent out of their parties, they are now independent National Assembly members in the National Assembly. It's like history is absolving us as we go. As some content, then development takes place that really shows that we are correct. Development takes place that shows that we are correct. So the idea is that we had an intention. And if you had independent National Assembly members who were selected for the sole purpose of serving the coalition agenda, those people will not even be thinking about the president. They'll be thinking about the coalition. The central gravity of power will not be in the executive. It will be in the coalition. And people will know that we have an agenda to implement. And as a result, everybody will have to conform to that agenda. Those who are following National Assembly proceedings, you can see that in many instances, yes, sometimes you have partisan consideration, but in most instances, you can see that we are together on what is right, despite the partisan differences. So I think those are just academic issues that people wish to raise, and it's good that they continue raising them. It makes good academic discussion. But the reality is, we were faced with a life and death situation in 2016. And that life and death situation had to be addressed, and all of us conformed to what was demanded by times and circumstances to address it.
Yeah, my second question is going to be regarding the by-election, as you are the chairman of the inter-party committee, and I have gone through the memorandum of understanding that the political parties have signed to agree that the message that people will be using during their campaign should be a decent message. But we have seen audios during the campaign that other political parties were, one can say, using abusive language or castigating each other during their political rallies. And you have the chairperson of the inter-party committee. What will this committee do to remedy those situations in the next 2021 election as it is looming? If the trend continues, it's very, we might be faced with crisis if they continue to use those abusive language.
Yes, I'm sure the inter-party committee, when they meet and have their press conference, you'll be able to ask that question. This is the Secretary General of DOI speaking. Take into consideration, all of us will need to go to the drawing board to learn the lessons that came out of Niamina and Kerr Jarga, based on all the findings made by the different independent political monitors. And through that, we should be able to come up with a blueprint as to how to handle those issues. So we'll take what you've said based on what you've said. I've not read the one report yet, but I'm sure we'll get all those reports.